So, Casey, are we going to have a normal intro this week?
Okay, you totally knew I hit the click and did the start. And
No, that was completely unintentional.
you liar.
I'm serious. It was completely unintentional this time. Though I did
Okay.
realize halfway through saying it that you probably hit the record button right as soon as I started saying it.
Yeah.
We've also become wise to your openings.
I mean,
You
in
can
this case,
only
I kind of expected it to just go normally and be like a normal intro and everything. But since fuck it at this point. All right, hi everybody. Podcast.
welcome to the Flux Podcast, episode 299.
Thank you.
Oh wow, 299.
Yep.
What a steal.
Oh wow, get that down in your bargain bin.
Fucking PS5 or whatever. Fucking no, it's gonna be like $400 at least.
Oh, definitely. I've been hearing that they're having trouble getting the parts. Everybody's
Oh,
having
yeah.
trouble getting parts.
Everything's gonna be fucked.
So I'm Casey, and with us this week we have Zero.
Hey everybody, I have a new mic.
It honestly, the sound quality is pretty good. I mean,
Thank you.
This one doesn't want to seem to pick up your voice as well as the other one did, but that's
Well,
the
I have to
downside
get
of
up
it.
really close, and I turned down the gain on it, so and I adjusted a few different settings, so it doesn't quite pick up my voice when I'm farther away, but it also doesn't pick up a lot of background noise.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of the professional mics is you actually need to be up on them to do the stuff because they're designed not to pick up everything around them.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah. You gonna carry on with the intro there, Casey? I actually let him fucking do it and he just fucking balls it. Alright, so Zero's here, he's got the microphone and everything. Slice is here,
Hey,
and Patience here.
Hello, everyone. Not much homework on since last week, though.
Sorry?
Not much to remark on since last week.
Yeah, sorry, that was me just not quite twigging into what you were saying. Yeah. I'm going to be honest, I got very little as well. I mean, it's warm. That's kind of nice. Let's talk about the weather for 30 minutes. It's what the podcast is now. It's the exciting antics of episode 299. Look forward to 300, where we talk about our favorite swatches of paint.
I want to talk about our favorite This is Sparta memes on episode 300.
I don't have a single one myself.
Then we got to go researching.
The
Back to the old internet.
epic rap... No, actually, the epic rap battle with Sparta is actually kind of shit. It's not very good. It's really bad. Has anything happened? Has anything happened? Anything at all? Nope. I got nothing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Really?
I got there was apparently a big update for Terraria. That was a thing that happened, and everyone on our public Discord is playing the shit out of it.
is that why everyone was playing it?
Yeah, because it's called Journey's End. It is the last update that will happen for the game ever. They are closing the book on it.
Wow.
Which is cool. I played it for like an hour, and the controls are still ass. But, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too small for me. I don't know. Everything seems way too zoomed out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can zoom in now. That's a thing you can do in the options.
My friend Dawn is really into Terraria, so she's been having a good time with that.
Yeah, she cool.
So, in terms of things that have been happening, I got my new mic. This is a Blue Yeti Pro you're hearing me on. So, it's the same sort of Blue Yeti, but much, much better. And it's a very good USB mic, which is nice. Did a lot of different takes with Audacity, recording audio, and I finally got sound quality that sounds professional, which is nice.
Yeah.
It means that I don't have to lie when I say I have a high quality setup.
It also, I don't know where I was going with that sentence, but maybe don't ever say you can do a British accent.
Yeah, I know. I'm not.
Yeah, it's.
I'm not claiming
is
to
bad,
have.
Zero.
I'm not claiming to have mastery over a British accent. I can, like, if I'm actually trying, do a pretty decent accent, but I'm never going to actually advertise an accent. My strengths are outside of doing accents, and I haven't had any formal training with accents, so yeah, I'd rather have more training than, trying to claim things.
I remember there was a thing. I saw a video of Liam O'Brien talking about something that he uses to help him get accents down. I can't remember what it was called though.
Is it O'Brien or O'Brien?
I always used to say O'Brien, but it might be O'Brien. I don't actually know.
I believe it's O'Brien.
I kept saying
But-
O'Brien because it's a Dara O'Brien, and it's very definitely O'Brien in that case.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have probably been saying it wrong, and I apologize if I confused you. It is a shame I will take to my grave.
Yeah. Anyway, shames aside.
It will never be put aside. So what have you done, Zero, aside from microphones?
Aside from getting that all set up, I've been playing through Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door on emulator.
Ooh.
Almost done with it. It's nice to go back to that game because you realize that when you level up, you can choose your HP, your FP, which you use for special moves, and your BP, which you use for equipping badges, your badge points. So I never actually played the game with a high amount of badge points before, because when I was younger, I just kind of equally spread out my levels. And I'm having a lot of fun with just how much you can customize your Mario in that game. Like, I'm doing insane damage now.
How are you distributing your stats now? Like 1-1-2 or?
I got my HP and FP basically up to 30, and then I've just been pumping everything else into my BP.
Ah.
So I have a ton of that right now. And one thing you notice going back to the old Paper Mario is that there's a lot of backtracking. There's so much backtracking. And a lot of the levels are very linear, which makes me kind of excited for the new Paper Mario game because everything there looks very open, which would be very nice to do without too much backtracking. Because there's some levels which are just a straight line in Thousand Year Door, which people don't really talk about.
I do hope that the newest Paper Mario is more Thousand Year Door than Sticker Star.
I have hope. Everything I've been seeing has been looking good. But you never know.
It's been so long since they made a Paper Mario game. I'm hoping they took the gap to, learn what people like, but you never know.
The reason why Color Splash was so bad was because they started development immediately after Sticker Star without taking any criticism or feedback first.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
And from what it looks like, your moves aren't items. There's a distinction there. And an equipment button on your menu for battling, meaning that there's things that affect your stats or something. It might actually be an RPG again. Which,
That would be nice.
yeah.
I mean, I didn't play much of the other two Paper Mario games after Thousand Year Door, so I don't remember them very well. Were they not RPGs?
Super Paper Mario took a different approach in which it became more of an action RPG, action platformer RPG, in which there were no turn-based battles, but you would jump on enemies like in a Mario game and do a set amount of damage and various other things. And that actually was very fun to play, but it wasn't, turn-based strategy. Then Sticker Star brought back turn-based, but then removed all levels and experience.
I haven't played any of the Paper Mario games myself. The closest was watching Chugga Convoy's Let's Play of the original one. I've been wanting to play it and Thousand Year Door for a while.
Yeah,
I would
highly
recommend
them.
them. Thousand Year Door is a really long game, though, so you got to kind of have time for it.
Well, of course.
This
I
said to the
mean,
guy that's played Persona 5 from the beginning like 6 times at this point.
That's fair.
and I'm probably going to do it 9 more times with Royal so that I can make sure that I have a romantic relationship with every girl, because then only because it's something that has a reward at the Thieves Guild, the Thieves Den.
I mean,
Otherwise, I'd just be sticking.
I didn't even touch the Thieves' Room beyond the brief tutorial there. Is there anything of actual value there?
Tycoon.
Well, not anything that affects the main game, but I mean, once you clear it, all of the confidants that you've made can show up there and comment on things like certain locations, the protagonist's personas, all that sort of stuff.
Also
It's just,
Tycoon.
well, yes, Tycoon is there too, and that's a fun game to play.
It is very fun. It is strangely fun.
It is, yes.
Goddamn Morgana. Cheating asshole.
Tycoon is a I always get really sucked into the card games they add on to in like the background of other games. It destroys me.
It is nice just to see all of the characters interacting with each other like that outside of the main game.
Yeah, just having fun. Yeah, that game has sucked in people it really shouldn't. Like, I watched a streamer that was like, "Oh, this is Thieves' Den. What the hell's going on here?" And he's like about to leave, and everyone's like, "No, try Tycoon." And he tries it, and he's like, I might have to come back and figure it out like on my own time, because this is really complicated and I don't quite. One more game. We'll see if we can get it. And then like 2 hours later, he's still fucking playing it on stream, even though he openly acknowledges this is terrible content to be streaming. It's awful, but I can't stop, kind of thing.
It took me a minute to get the hang of the rules as well, but it's pretty straightforward.
There's elements of strategy to it.
Yeah. Once you figure out what all the cards actually do, you can start putting things together, and it's not amazingly complicated, but there's it takes a bit. Sorry?
Always hang on to the 3 of spades.
Oh yeah.
Just a really
anyway.
fun...
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I was just saying it is a really fun game on top of a really fun game.
Yeah.
I've already said that I've platinumed Persona 5 Royal, and they seem to have compromised difficulty in the face of just making it a more enjoyable storyline and gameplay overall. But it's not my turn, so I'll wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also have P5R platinumed, but I'm not going to go back to that one for a while because there's some other games that I want to get back to as well.
I'm actually kind of surprised there aren't any challenges for I beat the game and the only achievements I don't have are like going to the batting cages or doing some side stuff that I didn't have to do.
There's 2 secret bosses.
Mm-hmm.
There are, but there aren't like achievements for them.
No.
Yeah.
They
Oh.
very much didn't tie achievements to them, which I actually appreciate because I can get a platinum for once.
I mean, can you not beat them? Like,
I mean, you can beat them, but I don't want to go all the way through the game again to get my platinum. I want to get my platinum and then go back to it later.
Oh, that's fair.
Because one of the secret bosses is only available in the final month on New Game Plus.
Oh.
So.
Whereas the other one is available shortly after clearing the first dungeon, but
in May.
You just need to grind in order to be able to last more than 5 turns. I still need to... No, it's not my turn, sorry.
It's okay. I guess aside from playing Paper Mario, which we got a little bit off topic there, but that's okay.
It's Paper Mario. We've discussed it like 6 times at this point. It's fine.
Yeah, well, we've discussed it twice. But we can also say we discussed it 6 times. We
can. Words are fun like that. Also,
Words
numbers.
Yesterday I woke up and I was feeling really like not great. Like my vision was just swimming and I had this huge migraine. And I got to work and I started working. I was like, I can't finish my shift like this. I can't concentrate on anything. And I went home and did a bit of a little quarantine, but I didn't have a fever. And then I passed out for a few hours and I woke up and I was fine. So that was really weird.
Wow. I guess I don't know. I tend to pass out after I get migraines. I just get incredibly tired at like the last stage of it.
It was like my entire body was like feeling weak, and it was just like a combination of all these different things. I was like, I might be sick. I don't want to cook if I am actually sick.
That's reasonable.
And the shift manager was a bit angry about that. I could tell he was a bit upset, because he would have to cook as well as open. But it's like, what am I gonna do? I can't possibly take that risk. And one of our night shift cooks just quit the previous night. Just out of nowhere. So that sucks. But I'm taking on additional shifts to help cover for our missing night cook. So I'm gonna be pretty busy. I'm trying to think of other things. Like, obviously, I've gone and I've read a bunch of stuff, manga and stuff, but nothing really comes to mind as something that I really want to talk about. I've been keeping up with My Hero, and that's been going places.
Oh boy.
I'm really excited to see where it goes. I get the feeling that a lot of things are going to change.
Year 2 will be a thing.
Yes. Also, I don't know. Does anybody else here read The Promised Neverland?
I'm familiar with what happens in it, but
I've read up to a certain point of it. I've heard somewhere that they were wrapping it up, so I've been meaning to look into the rest of it.
Yeah, they're very much near the end right now, to the point where I was surprised they had a come back next week for another chapter. I was like, wait,
That
don't
close.
do this to me. Yes, that close. It's to the point where they're at the end. You can tell it's at the end. And then it's just like, next chapter. No, don't do this to me. Stop. I've had so many fake outs already. I thought this was going to end like 30 chapters ago.
That? Well, I can't say that it's not really, really fun to string along your audience.
It is, because it's just like, this is a good solution. This is a good like ending to this conflict. It's like, wait, no, there's this part that you forgot about. It's like, we're handling everything. Yeah, we're handling everything. We're wrapping up every loose end.
Well, in fairness, I appreciate that a lot.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it too. It's just like, I didn't think we'd go this far.
Oh, good to know.
That's a very good series. If you haven't read The Promised Neverland or watched the anime, please do so. It is possibly one of, if not the best, shonen manga that has come out of Shonen Jump in a long time.
You're ready to make people mad with statements like that. Fucking when Demon Slayer came out and shit.
I haven't read Demon Slayer.
Neither have I, but I know people go shit over it. Ape shit.
I have watched it, and it's very good. So, them's fighting words right there.
It's good because it's good in a way that, like, it's so unconventional. It is so far away from every other shonen manga is. It's a very unique story. So, on that alone, it gets a lot of high points, but the way that it is told and the various conflicts within it, yeah, I think that there's a lot to be said for Promised Neverland, and I think that it's a shame that it's ending soon, because there's a lot more that I would like to see more of this, but at the same time, I don't want to overstay its welcome.
I appreciate that. There's a lot of anime that just kind of keep going, and it doesn't lend itself well to the story.
I mean, you look at some of the really good series out there, like Avatar, maybe The Last Airbender, and even Legend of Korra. They had an end point. They stopped at it, and it was fulfilling.
Last Airbender did that. Not so much Korra. They were kind of just going as they went for Korra.
I mean, Korra, the entire show of Korra was not needed, in my opinion, but I don't know. People like it.
I never saw Korra.
The first season was good. The second season kind of broke everything.
Sounds about right.
The whole thing was, hey, in Last Airbender, it was all, hey, spirits are mysterious and unknowable and run on blue and orange morality. They don't actually give that much of a shit generally about humans, but they're around and they're generally forces of nature, so don't fuck them up or mess with them in ways they don't like, bad things will happen. And then in Korra second season, they're like, hey, this is the origin of the Avatar. Basically, there was this really, really evil spirit that was all evil, like everywhere, all evil everywhere. And then there was this really, really good spirit that was all good everywhere. And the good one went into the Avatar.
Wow.
That's literally what it is.
Masterful
And you see, Naruto, this is why you're the reincarnation of...
This is why you're Ninja Jesus.
Yeah.
Ah.
I actually stopped watching halfway through the second season because it was a little dull and didn't really seem to know where it was going. So I only found out about all that stuff after the fact, because that's how the season ends. Of somehow that plot element solves the fact that the water tribes are going through industrialization or something along those lines. Was it that? Something like that. It was like a clash between spirituality and industrialization or something, I think. Or I might be thinking of the comic. I don't fucking know. It was a mess. Wasn't very good. Which is a shame, because again, like I say, I liked the first season. They did some interesting stuff with it, and went with a non-standard ending. Where, you know, the good guys didn't actually beat the bad guys, and the bad guys just kind of got themselves fucked over. Oh well.
And resolved almost all of the questions left by season 1 of the original series, from what I heard anyway. Almost, with the notable exception of Zuko's mother.
That was done in the comics.
I know, but you have one of the characters ask exactly what happened in the first episode and then get cut off before an answer can be given, before the comics had even hinted showing the answer.
There's one of the comics I actually kind of want to read, because it actually did some interesting stuff with, like... I keep getting these videos from this one creator in my fucking YouTube recommendation feed, and it was Hello Future Me, I think he's called. And it was like an analysis of the world building of Avatar. And he talked about one comic that was all about, like, post-war water tribe, where it was like the Southern Water Tribe was completely fucked up because there were like 20 people left in it after all the warriors left. So when they came back, they basically had nothing. Their culture was dying, everything was fucked up, so they get help from the Northern Water Tribe. But because of that, they're getting their own culture subsumed within the Northern Water Tribe and all the industrialization that's happening because of the intervention of the Fire Nation. And that's interesting stuff. Like, it's probably a bit, you know, above the heads of kids. I mean, I don't want to, you know, talk down to kids and say that they're not that intelligent, they wouldn't be able to get it. They can, and Avatar itself is kind of the proof of that. But it was really interesting, just sort of world building and the progression of world building in terms of, like, just what the world would turn into because of the events of the story that happens. I thought it was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound like awesome, just to see post, you know, event in your story in which there's a world-shaking event, and then you focus on the aspects of it that are not quite as, you know, prevalent in the main story.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Was that one and another one that was about the Fire Nation colonies in the Earth Kingdom? There were two. I want to read both of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one I believe was setting up for the basis of what would become Republic City, I think.
Yes, it set up the governmental system because it was like, hey, this is technically in the Earth Kingdom, and Aang is like, yeah, you need to give that back because it's Earth Kingdom land, and everything needs to be separate. You can't have anything trying to intermix. And Zuko's like, okay, but all these people, these admittedly Fire Nation people, they were born and raised here. They have been here their entire lives and had absolutely nothing to do with the war effort. They just lived and worked here and just lived out their lives and didn't actually do anything that you're trying to get them kicked out for.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, recently occupied, I remember reading this one. Recently occupied territories, yes, you want to go back to the way things were. But then you have some that have been occupied by the Fire Nation for over 100 years. The resentment of the occupation has pretty much dissolved by this point, and the cultures have merged together.
Yeah, and they eventually come to the solution, quote unquote solution, of, they have a government that is half Fire Nation, half Earth Kingdom representatives, and half benders, half non-benders, if memory serves. No, it wasn't. It was. That wasn't a factor. I'm getting ahead of myself, but yeah, that was. They just split it down the middle, which is a solution. Not necessarily the right one, because again, these are very, very serious and highbrow topics that don't actually have real world answers yet. I say yet, I don't know whether they ever will. And yeah, it was really, really interesting deep dive stuff that admittedly Korra probably never could have handled, really. Just that, I guess that sort of material doesn't really make for good primetime television, especially on a kids network.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but I mean, that's how it goes with stories. Some parts ebb, some parts flow.
And, you're restricted by the medium you're working with.
Yeah, those arcs would have been a lot of people just having conversations, which is great for some shows, but Avatar was at least partially an action show.
Yeah. There's some shows where, the best episodes are when two characters sit down and just have a conversation for the entirety of the episode. There's some shows where if those two characters have that conversation, I am on mic. Am I too far away? What?
A little bit.
Okay. There's some shows where if those two characters sit down and have that conversation, everybody's gonna be boring.
Not everybody, but a lot of people, and it would focus group badly, which is unfortunately a big deal.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Well, we got off topic again.
Yeah, that was all my fault. I went on a massive digression.
I got into that because we were talking about Promised Neverland and it coming to a conclusive conclusion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, the world building in Promised Neverland, very good. Everything makes sense. And it feels like if it's not explained, there is an explanation for it. That being said,
I try and do that in my writing. It's a habit I've gotten into of just I am answering questions that no one is going to ask. It feels kind of wasteful, but at the same time necessary. It's strange.
Yeah.
It's wasteful until it is, and you never really know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I've been just reading a bunch of random mangas to try to, pass time.
Yeah.
Have you been aiming for any genre in particular, or just whatever?
Just whatever strikes my fancy, I guess. There was when I was reading about this kid, it's called Saike Mata Shitemo, or Even If Saike Does It Again, where the main character is this introverted middle schooler who just plugs in his headphones and lets everything pass by him. And the a close friend of his gets hit by a truck, and then he falls into the pond that they're in and drowns because he can't swim, and then returns to the morning of that day.
Wow.
And as it turns out, he has a unique power where if he drowns in that pond, specifically drowns, he will return to the morning of that day, of the day that he's in.
Boy, that sounds like a power I would never use.
That is extremely esoteric.
And also a power that I would never figure out correctly. I would be like, oh, if I die, then I just go back to the beginning of the day. Cool. And then I'm done. That's just how that would go.
Yeah, unless someone is like explaining that to me, some exposition character.
Well,
I don't
as
think
far
that's,
as he knows, that's how his power works. He's obviously not going to test it just to make sure.
That's fair. Make sure you do everything exactly as you did last time, unless there was only a one-time thing.
Yeah, that much is fair.
So then you end up in a situation in which he manages to, eventually figure out how she could potentially be saved, and comes into contact with other people with strange abilities. And as his ability, as far as he knows, is I can return to the morning of, but I have to go all the way to the other side of town and drown myself. How am I going to deal with these situations? And it's an interesting restriction on what would otherwise be a very broken power.
You're talking about it like it's a very happy-go-lucky fucking comedy hijinks thing. Oh, guess I gotta rush over to the other side of the town so I can drown myself. How am I gonna get there? Oh, this is gonna be a...
No, it's a little bit less lighthearted than how I'm presenting it, but
yeah.
I thought that was a really there's really neat executions of how these abilities work in terms of combat situations in which, let's say there's one guy and his power is I can turn things that I touch into styrofoam.
Ooh.
Oh, it's like Midas touch, only shitty.
This is just the mother of all esoterical powers, so it seems. Just are all of them that?
There's a lot of very esoteric powers, but they all have their limits and weaknesses.
There's always only one thing I think of whenever someone says everything he touches turns into. It's always the same thing, and I always feel really sad. Every single time. Is it
masturbation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that?
Anyway.
Now for something completely different.
I really was enjoying that manga, and it looks like it's actually about to end soon as well. But such an interesting array of power sets and how they kind of collide with each other. I highly recommend it. That's it for my week.
Cool.
And now for me to give you nightmares for the coming week.
Seen it. Okay. Okay. Slash is muted because he's talking to somebody. So, I remembered something because of the talk about fucking Avatar and Legend of Korra and the comics and shit. Zero, no. Just not even on call anymore. So there was an ad in one of those Hello Future Me videos. By the way, check out that channel. It's interesting stuff. He was advertising a service called Campfire, which is basically a story planning buddy program, which is really fucking extensive. And I am extensive, not expensive. It's like £30 or something. Which I downloaded and had a look at. It is very, very in depth, and I am considering paying for it because all of my notes currently are in myriad notepad documents in the same folder as I have the notes for the fucking channel and stuff.
So, how does it work?
It has sections for all different kinds of things where you can just input data for, like, all of your characters can have a separate profile page, so you can have all of them outlined perfectly and just set, so if you need to reference something, you can just go back and have a look and it's all there, neatly arranged. And you can have, like, you can set up your you can do your world building through it, so you can have, like, this town has this many people in it, this is their culture, this is what they value, this is how they think of things, and what their political system is set up like, and how this is how it informs what they're like culturally and stuff like that. And then you can move on to, like, say, relationship diagrams, and you can put together, like, full, like, brainstorming sheets with all of the characters and their different links and what they are to each other and all kinds of things like that. And it's just really, really in depth, just for building out your story in terms of all the different disparate elements and putting it together in a cohesive form so you don't get confused as much. Because, like, you've probably had this, Zero, and maybe you to a different extent, Patient, because you do more beta stuff than straight up writing. I don't know your process, but just putting together notes for stories can be madness just for finding what you're looking for. So this program just has everything in very specific sections, so you always know where to go to look for certain information. So yeah, I'm considering paying for that, because
if you do, let me know how it is, because that like a good review of that might help some of our listeners who write, and it also could, help me when I decide to get back into actually sitting down and writing.
Likewise, I'd like to hear your take on it as well.
Yeah, because I've been doing more planning and planning ahead and stuff, and yeah, that's it's kind of a mess a lot of the time. So I need to start using something that can organize my head a bit better, since I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old, but I feel like when I was 20 or so, when I first started writing, it was like, everything's fine, everything's in my head, it's all locked in there, nothing's gonna, like, disappear or slip out or anything like that. Which was the case at the time.
You also have more ongoing stories right now. I mean, back then you only had, what, 2 or 3?
Yeah,
Tops
that's true.
at any given time?
That's true. And then there was the extended period where I would update, like, one every 5 months or so. And that was not great. But even then, it was like, yeah, I can pick this up because I know everything that was happening and what was going on, and it's all still locked up in here. And it's not quite the case anymore, but, such is life. But yeah, that was the one thing that I did that was mildly interesting, was check out Campfire. That was pretty good. It also apparently is very good for DMs as well. Just because Zero's here, I thought I'd mention that.
Yeah,
because like
yeah, that could. I'm seeing how that could definitely help.
Yeah,
I have multiple documents with notes in it.
Yeah, there is a slightly expanded version of Campfire that is slightly more expensive, that has a bunch of tools for game mastering and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's all I had though. Sice, how you doing? You good?
Better.
Good.
I'm good to go for my week. That was my turn.
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing I did was I did a little dumpster diving, which is what I call going to a game store.
Yeah.
Oh.
Game stores are pretty much
And
dumpsters at this
wildly-
point. Yes.
So yeah, I got. Let's see, I actually got the games themselves, so I could read off their titles, and I flipped them around. So okay, there we go. Surge 2, which is the one I've actually been playing the most of recently. Just Cause 4, which I started and played 5 minutes of, and I'm like, okay, this seems like an open world game. Warhammer Chaos Bane, which is basically discount Diablo. Vermintide, which I can't play because I don't have a PS Plus subscription, but I mean subscription, but it's only $10, so that's fine. And Valkyrie Revolution. Surge is really good. They don't seem to have changed up the formula much from the first game, but it just plays better. It's a little smoother. The first game was a little janky. I don't know if anyone here played that one.
No, I just watched a few videos on it. Decided it wasn't for me.
That's fair. You actually meet the hero of the first game in it, which is kind of a rare treat. It's nice.
To double check, Surge is the one where it's Dark Souls, but it's robots, and you can strip parts off of them, the enemies, if you hit them right, and steal their parts and stuff, right?
Yes, in combat you can focus on different limbs, the head or the torso, and whatever piece you finish, there's a finishing move when they get low health. You get that part, or parts for that part to upgrade it.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah. In the first game, when you first start the game, you're actually in a wheelchair, and so your character is paralyzed, and the suit that you're wearing allows you to walk. It is also body horror grafted onto you with metal screws. So it's kind of horrifying. In the second game, despite taking place in the same time period, they improved, so now it's just nanites that are melded with your flesh in a way that is seemingly reversible. So at least that's a little better. It's not as nightmare fuel gory. As I said, the combat is a little smoother. The game, the enemies have a level, but it's not a hard level because the weapons don't do enough damage to really matter too much. You could technically beat the game with a level 1 weapon. It was hard, but the damage doesn't go up that much when you upgrade it. So there is a level of, oh, I shouldn't be here because the enemies are three levels above me, and there's only level. So that was kind of nice because you can, similar to going in the graveyard in Dark Souls 1, you can power through, and if you can kill one enemy, you can start rapidly upgrading your stuff. So that's nice. It's open world, and it does have quests, but there's no quest marker, so you really have to look for where you're supposed to go, and it's kind of confusing because the map isn't so much a detailed map as it is this is the general direction this area is. So there are some quests that also okay, there was a quest to find an ally named Scrappy in this area, and then there was another quest with Scrappy himself, and you don't beat the Meet Scrappy quest until you beat Scrappy's quest as well. So some quests are linked, and it's not very clear that that's the case. It's I don't know. It's a really fun game, and I would definitely recommend it. It's just got some weird hang-ups like that. Just it's not as refined as it could be. So if they ever make a Surge 3, I'm hoping it's better. But I also haven't beat it, so I don't know if it really wraps up completely. See, I spent 2 hours on Chaos Bane. It is straight just kind of a boring Diablo. But I guess it's Warhammer, so I mean, if you like swords and sorcery style Warhammer, then it might be for you.
Warhammer will always remain as something that is just beyond my understanding. I've never gone anywhere near it.
Yeah, I thought it was like Chaos Marines and stuff like that. I
That's
didn't.
Warhammer 40k.
Okay, okay.
My
That's
only
a lot more.
experience with Warhammer is literally in a gaming magazine. I once saw an article about Warhammer 40k. That's it.
That's understandable. Yeah.
Here's the broad strokes. Warhammer is everything is miserable. You don't want to actually live there. If you're of high class and strong, you will live a miserable life. If you are not, you will probably die in suffering and agony as the pawn of something that doesn't even notice you exist. Yeah, that's pretty much the top and bottom of Warhammer, more or less.
Lovely.
That sounds about accurate to what I'm seeing. Yeah. There's just a lot of witch hunts and cults and demons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of Doom without the masterful badassness of the Doom guy.
Or fun. Yeah.
Yeah, or fun actually. Yeah, it's kind of boring. That was my main problem with that game actually. It was kind of boring.
Hey, you know what you should play instead? Just Cause 4.
that?
You should play more of
Yeah,
that.
I tried that.
Play more than 5 minutes,
And-
please.
So, one of the problems is I haven't played 1 through 3, so none of the story makes any sense, and it doesn't try to welcome in new players at all.
Okay. Here is a quick rundown of how the story works. Rico Rodriguez is basically a super badass that has a grappling hook that defies physics. That's not part of the story, it's just how the game works. But his job is to go into places and topple tyrannical regimes, usually by completely destabilizing the region and causing what's probably going to end up being an endless war, but he's supposed to be the good guy anyway. He used to work for the CIA. He no longer works for the CIA. I'm not entirely sure why. But now he's in this place where there is a guy that has weather machines, and he needs to stop that guy and topple his regime by, as I said, destabilizing the region, fucking everything up, and creating a never-ending war, etc. There's your story. That's the whole story.
See, that would have been very useful to know before I started playing, because that makes a lot of things make sense now. Also, yeah, no, the Rico, the main character, is straight up a Borderlands character.
Yeah.
In a weirdly straight universe.
Yeah, that's why it's great.
So, I'm sure I'll grow to like that when I give it a bit more time. The movement options were a little confusing.
Once you get to grip
was-
with it, it's amazing.
Yes, that was my takeaway. Actually, the few times I could really nail it, it was a lot of fun. And it's not so complex that I'll never do. It's just it takes a bit of practice.
Yeah, you will slam your head into walls at about 90 miles an hour a lot.
Yeah, no,
That's
I already did
still
that.
part of the fun, though.
A lot of that, a lot of head smashing. Oddly, I was a little disappointed in the shooting aspect of the game. It's like I have all these movement options, and then I just stand still and shoot people. So
Yeah.
Shouldn't I have like super weapons or lasers or something? It feels weird.
It does build to that sort of stuff, yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
At the start, it's pretty basic, machine gun, rocket launcher kind of thing, and grenades. But the weapon you're probably going to use most is probably just the grappling hook. It's bullshit. It's great.
I mean, I didn't realize I could shoot people with the grappling hook. I just got out of the tutorial, so
If you hold down the left bumper, L1,
left L1, yeah.
yeah. If you hold that down and aim it at a dude, and then move the cursor over to anything else and let go of the button, it will make a tether between the dude and whatever you pointed at afterwards when you let go.
Well, that sounds delightful.
Yeah. You We actually did a Let's Play series of this, well, kind of, on the channel that has some of the shenanigans that you can get up to in the game that you might want to check out, because that's pretty fun.
I'll have to do that. That does sound fun. So yeah, I'll definitely be playing that more once I beat Surge 2, which I hope to do because it's actually kind of a tough game in the late game.
There was an entire saga of us just attaching a dozen rocket balloons to a giant stone ball with a face on it and flying it through the jungle.
Wow.
It was magical.
I have seen the shenanigans that people get up to in Just Cause. That's kind of why I got it. Because it's silly.
Yeah. It is ridiculously fun to just fuck around. Like, the story you could take or leave, the missions you could take or leave, just do enough that you can do the cool stuff that you want to do. That's the fun of that game.
Yeah. So, definitely playing more of that. The last one, Valkyrie Revolution. It's a Valkyrie Chronicles game. That's all I can say about it. I mean, it's magical World War II, essentially.
Yeah.
This one's less straight World War II and just kind of World War. They also opened it 100 years in the future, and I fucking hate the what is that? Immediate res.
I tend to call that flash forward because it's not in the middle of the story; it's at the end, or even way beyond the end.
Yeah, you were probably right on that. I'm assuming it does not catch up because there's no action happening. It's like starting with the end of Mass Effect.
That would be an interesting thing for them to do, is just have the story take place over like 6 generations, like Star Atlas style.
Considering it's an anime war game, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that.
Cloud Atlas.
But that feels like I don't think they could manage that single game. That would probably be like the first game in the series.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but that opening cutscene sets up your main characters to be a massive traitor, and then they allude to you actually being secret heroes that saved the world somehow, and it's just like,
cool.
I don't know what it is about that setup. Yeah, why would you say that? Now I just don't care. I can guess where the story's going to go from here. So I should have skipped that first cutscene because it just immediately killed all my desire to play the game.
I don't like that trope. I would like it to go away. I'm not gonna lie. It really bothers me.
It's Japan and their weird spoiler culture, though. They have I don't even know how to describe that. They just don't care about spoilers. And I'm very curious to see, I mean, like, why that is. What cultural events happen to make it so spoilers are just commonplace and don't matter.
I'm not sure it's something that happened to their culture. I think it's something that happened to ours that makes us not want to hear about spoilers. Like, some of the most famous works of literature of Western culture had spoilers right at the beginning. Romeo and Juliet starts with, hey, these kids are going to meet a tragic end.
Oh, well, fair enough. Yeah. I hadn't really thought about it like that, but yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah, I couldn't pinpoint that either of why we started hating spoilers, but that is also a thing. But yeah, that doesn't really change the fact that I do hate spoilers, and it really pisses me off.
Yeah, it's not fun, enjoyable. Let's see. I also last night, which is why I was asleep for so long, I binge watched almost all of Smosh's Try Not to Laugh challenge because there was an episode with some of the Critical Role guys, Matt Mercer and Sam Riegel, and Marisha, I think. I can't remember exactly. I watched like 6 hours of content, so straight in a row. I definitely recommend that series. It's a lot of fun. Some of the earlier episodes are a little not funny. They definitely take a while to hit their stride, but it is a fun series. They pretty much have one person sit in a stool, and then the other people have 30 seconds to make them spit out water they have in their mouth.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
I
I think I
did
saw
not
some
hear
of
that,
that.
Zero. You're kind of cutting in.
Yeah, sorry. I think I saw some of that. Is what I was saying.
Gotcha. Yeah, they have. It seems like every couple episodes they have a guest star, so you will probably find an episode with someone you were.
Hmm.
And I think that's it. I haven't really watched or done anything else of note.
Okay. Well, speaking of gotcha, hey Zero, did you do the mystery thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't spoiled on who the culprit was, but I think that I'm very confident in my guess.
Okay. Yeah. That was the thing. They were doing a murder mystery in FGO.
Oh, I see.
It was weird.
Was it fun? At least.
Kind I
I
liked
enjoyed
reading the
it.
story. I I think the mystery was a bit shit.
Yeah, it's not a great mystery, but it's fun. It's something very different from the normal FGO event.
Yeah. I I wish it was less. I wish the mystery was less to do with the framing device of how you're seeing the mystery. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I agree.
That's going to make no sense except for the people that play FGO and have done this event. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. It wasn't so much about paying attention and following the clues. It was, hey, what's fucked up about this situation? What are we showing you that's wrong? That's not a mystery. That's not how mysteries work.
I mean, there are clues that matter, but it's to the point where it feels like it's trying to get you to guess wrong by doing a trick,
Mm.
and that just doesn't like
It's not a
it doesn't
satisfying mystery.
exactly.
Oh. Patient, did you have anything else? I remember you said right at the top that you didn't really have much, but do you have anything?
I'm reflecting on it more. I've got a bit. Uh, all of the games that I had any notable interest in as of late, uh, I've managed to platinum at this point. I still need to go back to the original Persona 5 and get the last couple of trophies that I have waiting there.
Oh, you really don't, but okay. You do you.
I tried out Journey.
That's a fun game. That's a fun couple of hours.
Couldn't get into it myself. A little too heavy on the showdown tell. I mean, I can definitely see the appeal, just it's not for me.
Did
I
you ever run across
prefer.
anyone else? I mean, you're playing it a while after, and it's very much
Yeah, there was
other
some.
people kind of experience.
There was someone else with me on the second level, but I didn't realize what was going on. I didn't. I didn't. I didn't know what I was getting into. I was going in as blind as possible, but
Uh,
yeah, they don't explain anything about it. They don't tell you that it's another player elsewhere and not an AI. So yeah, I'm just not interested in going back to that game.
that's a shame.
Yeah,
I guess that's one of those games where you really don't want to go in blind, but there's no way to know that without looking things up, i.e., not going in blind. So that's kind of unfortunate.
yeah.
The only thing I know about that game is one that you do play with other people. It's kind of an exploration game, and it eventually tells you the username of the other player, which I will never forget the best friends segment where they're like, "I had this deep, meaningful journey with Balls Deep 69."
That that was probably before fucking Sword Art Abridged came out, so that's probably what they were referencing.
Well, there was, I think they used like Vegeta Master XX or whatever, but that's just the first one that came to my head.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's you. Well, you literally journey through a desert and reach a mountaintop, and there's no story to speak of. It's just you exploring this world and finding all these things from presumably a lost civilization, but you don't really know because it doesn't tell you anything. There's no dialogue, there's no script, there's no text. You're just going from place to place. And it's drop in and drop out co op. The only way you can communicate with each other is through singing, I want to say.
Basically.
Yeah. So you can just be running along and you just see some other dude and he's like, hey, what's up? Or, hey, what's up? And you're like, how's it going? And it's just, yeah. Don't actually say words, obviously, because like I say, no words. But there was something interesting at the time, admittedly. It was like 2013 or so. So it was very, avant-garde kind of gameplay stuff. But basically, you would have your own personal experience of going through this journey and meeting people just very specific to you, rather than just everyone going along the same track and seeing the same story beats. You would have your own personal story of how you experienced that game. Is what it was supposed to be. I don't know whether it would be anywhere near as special nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be like these days. I don't know I don't know who's playing it.
Yeah, not really much else to remark on, though I do have an odd sort of recommendation this week.
Alrighty.
Not of a story, but
Hit us.
one of the several examples of some artwork that I'm trying to promote the one responsible for. He's just really trying to get it's a lot of skill and not enough buyers, basically. And just
That's understandable. I mean, I don't know how many people would be in the market for a presumably very heavy bust or heavy sculpture. Or just kind of art in general these days, sadly.
yeah.
So, have you known the artist long, or?
He's my uncle.
Oh.
Oh.
Was in a gas explosion when he was young and had to find some way to keep his hands busy in order to keep use of them, so he started carving.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool, actually. Glad you got something meaningful, an outlet.
Yeah. He's more recently moved into stone and metalwork. It started with wood, of course.
Yeah. Those heads are pretty cool.
Yeah. So, just trying to get more word of his art out there. Hopefully getting more people to take an interest in purchasing some of them. He's got one second, I got that somewhere here out there. He's got a lot.
Very much doing. I couldn't name the style if I wanted to, but the busts that he's doing. He's very much going for something specific.
Kind of almost Egyptian themed.
I was going to say Hawaiian, personally. Which is a very different place.
Kind of. I mean, like, I was thinking Pharaoh, kind of Sarkophagus thing. But...
Yeah, I could see that in some of the ones in the last image with the long chins and such.
Tribal, I think, is how he describes them.
Sorry?
Tribal, I think, is how he describes them.
Ah, gotcha.
Also, the cats, the moons, that sort of stuff. He's got... This is his style.
Cool.
Yeah. So just whatever publicity I can. If you know anyone who might be interested in something like this, then that would be it. Other than that, I'm not sure I really have much else. Let me double check to make sure I haven't come across anything lately. Any new additions to my favorite list? Days added, and no. No, unfortunately not. Just, well, good stories, just not good stories that I haven't recommended before.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to...
What are you doing?
Anything anyone wants to mention last minute? That's where I was going with that. Failed.
I just remembered that I saw Moana for the first time the other day. Yeah? I completely missed that one.
That's a shame.
That is a good one, yeah.
Oh, it's a good movie. We watched it with our 3D glasses.
Oh. That feels like you immediately ruined the experience for yourself, but I mean...
Probably. Yeah, it was good. It's still good. There's a lot of movies that I missed out on that everybody else saw. And it surprises me sometimes.
I guess with a 3D, Tomato would have been extra shiny.
Shiny!
He is the best character.
It's great.
He's in it for like 5 minutes.
It feels like longer.
Yeah.
And
I went back and I rewatched that sequence over and over again.
Tomato
that's it. That's my last minute thing. I saw that for the first time. It's been out for years.
He was a drab little crab once. It's a fucking good song. I need to listen to that soundtrack again. Fucking Christ. It's so good.
There's some movies that just either I miss completely or my family watches without me when I'm doing like D&D.
So, going to listen to an entire soundtrack again because he brought up that movie.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how that works.
That is
well, what can you say except you're welcome.
Mm-hmm. See, I didn't go for that one because it seemed too obvious. Judging you. All right. All right. So, I'll say it again. Anything else last minute?
Give me 1 second to...
God damn it.
So I did have a story I've been reading, and I may as well recommend it. Remnant Inferis. Inferius? It is a Doom crossover with Ruby. It is...
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think it would work, and then it does. It's really good. They essentially find the Doom Marine after not the latest game, Eternal, but the one before that.
2016. Yeah.
Yes, that one. And so he is in a state of rage and rips apart a bunch of Grim, like upwards of 24, and then some soldiers find him, and then he rips them apart too because he just cannot tell the difference between. I mean, he's just in a foreign land, and there's a bunch of people trying to kill him. So they eventually capture him somehow. They kind of gloss over that detail, and he wakes up in a lab, which the White Fang that attacked. And it's pretty much just a slaughter fest all the way back to Vale, where that's where I'm at right now. The story is rated M, and the first thing on the list of reasons it's rated M is ultraviolence. And I thought that was funny until one of the first things he does is punch the jaw clean off of Faunus. That was breaking his area. I didn't realize it had a TV tropes page until I just Googled it. So I'm that.
Okay.
All I know is it's very entertaining, and if you like Doom style combat with lots of violence, ultra violence, go for it. It's very good.
Now I just have the Doom comic quote stuck in my head. All right.
It's also several of the characters they're not OOC, but actually they adapt very well to demons showing, because that's what happens. It's kind of implied that the reason he was on Remnant to begin with is because a cult cropped up and they're summoning things from hell, and he was just kind of in for the ride, essentially. So one of the first things that happens is one of the towns they pass through is the Grim attack, and the citizens take shelter in a church, which is the center of a cult, which takes the opportunity to sacrifice all of them and turns an entire town into those zombie skeletons. And Ruby and Blake are both there, and they handle that surprisingly well. They're horribly scarred by the whole experience, but it's very good character writing.
I really want to check this out. I feel like just throwing in freaking Doom just always makes things so much more metal.
Oh, it's outlandish and stupid, but that's why it's so good.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
I mean, the Doomslayer, his chainsaw immediately runs out of gas because it runs on gas, and this is Remnant. And it just happens to conveniently fight the guy from the train that has like the longsword chainsaw thing, and just kind of steals it from him.
That makes sense.
So that's pretty much what he uses for most of it, because his guns pretty much always run out of ammo, which is a running theme. So yeah, that is my recommendation. I've been reading it in my off time at work, and it's been a lot of fun.
Cool. Sorry, it's like half past midnight here. All right. So I'm going to say it one more time.
Don't say it. Just end it now.
I'm going to say it one more time to be polite. If there's anything else, last minute, anyone would like to say, not Rabbit. Good. So,
Rabbit.
I think we're good.
there we go. So, that took longer than I wanted it to. All right, so...
I wondered what you were doing.
Yeah. If you'd like to get in contact with us in the YouTube comments, it's good. It's not really. YouTube is shit. But we have a public Discord link in the description. If you would like to donate on Patreon, we'd very much appreciate it. Link in the description again. And again, everything's still kind of shit. So, like I've been doing the past few episodes, just if you can contribute to your charity of choice for whatever cause happens to need it, food banks, hospitals, things like that, that would be very good. Yeah. So thanks for listening. Episode. Bye, everybody.
See you guys.
Rabbit.
Don't steal my joke.